Naruto office. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Onbi Ninja kneeling in front of him with a gloomy expression. He took a deep breath on the pipe, calmed his nerves, and said, "Can't you find out the information about the person who claims to be Danzo?" The Anbu ninjas looked at each other, shaking their heads together. "We searched all the ninja files of Konoha, and the closest thing is the information of the old Danzo-sama. More than that, he is also very familiar with the various tracking methods of Anbu. After following him for less than 5 minutes, the ninja we followed was knocked out." Thinking about it, someone broke into the office door at once. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked up, and silently blew a smoke ring. "Danzo. What kind of wind brought you here?" The elderly Danzo fanned the smell of cigarettes in the room in disgust. He really didn't know what to smoke with this stuff, and his eyes were fixed on Sarutobi Hiruzen who was sitting on the chair. "I heard that someone pretended to be the old man? Did the investigation find out?" Sarutobi Hiruzen did not speak, but glanced at the investigation results on the desk. Just glanced at it, and threw the document on the ground forcefully. "Suspect it's me again?" Pointing at himself, the elderly Danzo said angrily, "That's a moment to subdue a cloud ninja Jonin. Do you think if the old man has this kind of power, you will still sit on this chair?" What happened in the morning made him sick. If he knew that Yun Nin was in this situation, he would never show up at the entrance of the village. "I tell you, if this old man is Hokage, he will fight with Kumo Shinobi no matter what." He clapped his hands on the table, and looked at Hiru Zanzaru Sarutobi. Hearing him mention what happened in the morning, Sarutobi Hiruzen couldn't help but interrupt him. "Shut up, now we're discussing the fake Danzo. Being bullied to the head and still not daring to fight back, it is disgraceful to say anything." The elderly Danzo let out a heck, and looked at Minister Anbu who was kneeling on the ground. Although the two were wearing masks, he knew him, Sarutobi Hiruzen's eldest son and daughter-in-law. The strength is nothing more than Jonin, and it is incomparable with Hitaki Sakumo. If it is not for blood relationship, no matter what, it will not hand over a department like Anbu to such a person. He taunted again, "Your Anbu is getting worse and worse, and you can't even investigate the information. Think about when Bai Fang was around, who in Konoha Onbi didn't feel scared when they saw it." The two half kneeling on the ground were speechless. What he said was indeed true. Seeing the elder Danzo scolding his son and daughter-in-law, Sarutobi Hiruzen couldn't help it, and interrupted in a calm voice, "That's enough. I'll give you 3 days to investigate the news about that mysterious person." With a sneer, the elderly Danzo ignored Sarutobi's face, and said again, "HMPH, do you think I'm just as trash as Onbi now? I'm going to meet that mysterious person tonight." After finishing speaking, he slammed the door and left, ignoring the ugly faces in the office. "You guys go out too." Sarutobi Hiruzen kneaded his eyebrows and said with a shake of his hands. The two kneeling on the ground breathed a sigh of relief, agreed immediately, and left in a hurry. Oshamaru, Jiraiya, Hitaki Sakumo, Namikaze Minato. After he was the only one left in the office, he gently read out the famous ninjas that appeared in Konoha in recent years, and because of his own reasons, he walked away and died. Did I really do something wrong? But he is all for Konoha. An out-of-town cloud ninja hurried into the Konoha guest house. He squatted down and whispered to the head of the delegation. "Trash. I told you not to make extravagant incidents. Each and every one of you has got shit in your head." After listening to this, he slammed his fist on the table, and the head of delegation Yun Nin said through gritted teeth. "Originally, what I arranged for them to do was to find out the defense situation of the Hyuga clan. Avoid errors in the information sent by Yunin spies. Such a simple thing can be messed up. Now it seems that they can only act on the basis of the intelligence they already have, and hope that there are not too many mistakes or omissions." Smiling grinningly, he looked at the Hyuga clan in the distance. Tonight is when the defense of the Hyuga clan is weakest. It also benefited from the birthday banquet of Princess Hyuga. Hyuga ninjas from both the main family and the branch family will go to banquets and drink. It won't be so easy if you miss tonight. I silently reviewed the plan again in my heart, and after making sure everything was in place, I put on the veil. Turning his head to look at the group of Yunin who were already fully armed, he said coldly, ready to act. "But what should they do?" a cloud ninja asked after hesitating. "Guys who are not doing enough to make things worse, don't worry about them." The head of the delegation put on his nightclothes, and gave a look to the Yun Nin who were guarding the door. Several people nodded in response, activated the instant body technique, and disappeared in place. A few seconds later, the sound of heavy objects falling to the ground came from outside the guest house. Several Anbu ninjas guarding the Yunin guest house had fallen to the ground at this time, and their lives and deaths were unknown. HMPH, without that scary guy, Konoha Onbi is like a tiger without claws. "Thank you more, Hokage. Ha ha ha. I wonder if Konoha's Hokage is the spy of our cloud ninja." After wiping the blood from their hands, several cloud ninjas walked in while chatting and laughing. A total of more than 10 elite cloud ninjas had the will to die. Let's let this rotten Konoha rot again with our deaths. The head of the delegation said in a deep voice with frenzied eyes, Hyuga's collapse plan has started. All Yun Nin shouted excitedly, everything is for the village. All root ninjas appeared in front of Naruto's house, and the Konoha residents living around them had been temporarily invited away by them. The elderly Danzo stared at the ordinary little house in front of him, not daring to be careless. Root ninja's terrifying intelligence capabilities allow him to grasp all the movements of Danzo's appearance in Konoha in the first place. Judging from those scattered data, at least they must have shadow-level combat power. But since he dared to come here, he was naturally prepared. Looking behind him, more than 100 ninjas appeared in the deserted alley. To become a root ninja, the weakest requirement is also an elite middle ninja. These people were all obtained when he personally visited the door and went to the Konoha clan to beg his grandpa to sue his grandma. The enchantment class that inherited the Uzumaki family was also transferred by himself. If not, there is a secret weapon. Master Danzo. Uchiha Shisui appeared behind him in a black robe. The elderly Danzo nodded, feeling a little apprehensive towards him. BT Anshin's illusion is too terrifying, it can modify a person's memory silently. Fortunately, it took a long time to recuperate once. This time it was just right to deal with the mysterious person who dared to pretend to be himself. It can not only weaken Uchiha's power, but also add a cage-level combat power to the village. After thinking about it, Uchiha Shisui asked behind him, My lord, are you serious about your promise to stop dealing with the Uchiha clan as long as I control him? The old man promises, the elderly Danzo replied. Without Shisui's other god's art, Uchiha's strength is still within his tolerable range, and he won't be able to attack them in a short time. Shisui, you go in with the old man, and the others surround this place. The enchantment class is always ready for the sealing technique. After ordering everything, the elderly Danzo took a deep breath, took Uchiha Shisui and opened the door of Naruto's house. Original time. The second-generation Naruto office. Tobirama was dressed in armor, handling official business with a pen in his hand. His face was much more tired than before. Can't you find where Danzo went? No, we have mobilized all the spies in the 5 major countries, and we have not found the whereabouts of the third Hokage-sama. Several Anbu ninjas knelt on the ground and replied respectfully. Helplessly waving his hand, Tobirama said, Get out, and report immediately if there is any news. Yes. Anbu ninja replied. In a flash, he disappeared in place. In the office where there was only one person left, Tobuma asked, Have you not heard from Danzo? From the shadows in the room, the 3 generals of the Shadow Corps walked out, shaking their heads together. With the relationship between the Shadow Corps and the Lord Danzo, as long as they are still in the same world, they can communicate with each other through the Shadow Kingdom. Now relying solely on General Sombra's shuttle ability, he can't get to Danzo. Usually this happens only when the host dies. In this way, all the abilities of the Shadow Corps on them will disappear. But they still have the ability to transform into the Shadow General, and there is a weak connection between the two, and the delegation is still alive. This has never happened before. Could it be that you were trapped in a small space like time-space ninjutsu? Tobirama said to himself. In this case, there is only one possibility, and that is, in time-space ninjutsu, this kind of situation is not uncommon. For example, his flying thunder god is to transfer his own space. In this short period of time, he is in a different time and space. There is also a kind of kaleidoscope writing wheel eye pupil technique recorded in the family classics mentioned by Uchiha Kagami Kamimui. That is also to create a different space, so as to use that space to transfer itself. After thinking about it, a message came from Kanai, the flying thunder god, and he immediately cursed secretly, is it Iwanin or Kirinin who attacked again this time? On the night when Kinkaku and Yinkaku launched the coup, Yanin and Onein launched an attack on Konoha. At that time, almost 2 of Konoha's leaders were fighting in the Cloud Ninja bloody battle, and there was no way to effectively command the ninjas in the village. Coupled with the situation of mental arithmetic and unintentional, the 2 lines of defense were broken one after another. After waiting for Tamama to return to Konoha, Chakra's body, which was severely overdrawn, could no longer support him in high-intensity combat. To say the least, it will take a year and a half to cultivate before returning to the original physical condition. But UWU and Gaidong Wanyue were there. Even if Yun Ninja declared a truce, Konoha Ninja alone would not be able to stop their attack at all. In desperation, Tobirama could only let Sarutobi Hiruzen and Kagami Uchiha take their own flying thunder god Kanai and go to the defense lines on both sides. Sitting in the village by himself, he was ready to shoot at any time while handling the logistics. Slow down the deterioration of the body by fighting for a short time. What's even more dangerous is that Urinan's Hanzo sent someone to report that Sandnin was also starting to move. Although I don't know what kind of friendship he has with Konoha, but the Konoha spy who is in the Sand Ninja has indeed sent the same information as what Hanzo said. The jackal from the desert saw that Konoha was in the weakest state at this moment, and wanted to come up and take a bite. If Iwanan and Mistnan are not defeated in a short period of time, then they may not be able to restrain their greed. Tobirama slowly got up and came to the window, looking at Hokage rock. The third rock carving is constantly taking shape under the meticulous carving of craftsmen. It's exactly what Danzo looks like. Danzo, teacher, I will definitely leave you a good Konoha. Ding, with a flash of figure, shuttled away along the coordinates of Flying Thunder God. Naruto's house. Looking at the familiar face, the elderly group froze in place. This face is exactly the same as when he was young. No, he is much more handsome. Touching his rough face now, he fell into memories. Before that, his Danzo was also a well-known handsome young man in Konoha Shili Bashong, and the threshold of being a matchmaker had even leveled the threshold of his family. If he hadn't been obsessed with the position of Hokage, he would probably have a group of grandchildren now. Danzo, who had just put Naruto to sleep, walked out of the room, walked slowly on the sofa, smiled kindly at the two who came in, and said, "Come in, both of you." With the appearance of the master, he didn't feel a trace of tension at all. Uchiha Shisui and the elderly Danzo looked at each other and walked in. I thought to myself, 2 cage-level ninjas, if they can't beat them, they can at least run away. Besides, judging from the sitting posture of this Danzo now, it is full of flaws. The old Danzo feels that there are 100 ways to kill him. Sitting on the sofa, the three faced each other without saying a word. In silence. Elderly Danzo narrowed his eyes and spoke first. Did your excellency be sent by Orochimaru? In his memory, only Orochimaru, a guy with terrifying talent in scientific research, has the ability to pretend to be such an outstanding person. Uchiha Shisui immediately became nervous when he heard the words. Orochimaru is Konoha's S-rank rebellious ninja. When it comes to strength, he is definitely not inferior to himself. Oshimaru. Danzo thought of the Orochimaru who was dressed as a little girl by himself when he was a child, and laughed directly, and waved his hand. Sorry, that brat is not good enough. Seeing his reaction, the elderly Danzo frowned. Seeing Danzo's reaction, he didn't take Orochimaru seriously at all. You know, even he himself is very afraid of Orochimaru. Can't help but think again which force in the ninja world can do this. Don't guess, let me introduce myself. Danzo looked at him, stood up, and smashed a small smoke bomb on the ground in his hand. White smoke drifted past, and Danzo reappeared in place, but his clothes changed. Wearing a Hokage hat and a royal robe, the third Hokage is printed on the robe. The face under the bamboo hat smiled triumphantly, appearing more heroic. Minister Genbu, the ruler of the Dark World, the most beloved cub of teacher Tobirama, Konoha's third generation of Hokage Shimura Danzo on the ginseng. Teacher Tobirama's most beloved disciple. The elderly Danzo looked at Danzo's figure in the imperial attire, staring intently, his eyes full of shadows were slightly rosy. Isn't this the scene of your dreams? His face when he was young really matched the royal god robe. But why did teacher Tobirama choose that hypocritical Sarutobi Hiruzen instead of himself? Didn't he just hesitate for a moment? The elderly Danzo gritted his teeth, the weight of the village in his heart overwhelmed his dream, and personally broke the scene he wanted to see in his dreams, and said word by word, "Who are you? If you don't tell me, be careful that the old man is rude to you." Don't you believe it? Danzo looked at him with folded arms, a little helpless. HMPH, no matter who you are, as long as you were caught by the old man, you will naturally speak. The elder Danzo thought to himself, forming a seal in his hand, and a huge wind escape chakra was accumulated in his mouth. Wind escape vacuum jade. Unexpectedly, Danzo on the opposite side clapped his hands, and the wind escape chakra also accumulated in his mouth. Wind escape vacuum jade. 2 huge wind bombs spit out from their respective mouths, collided together, cancelled each other out, and dissipated invisible. How do you know my own vacuum series of ninjutsu? The elderly Danzo asked in surprise, his eyes widened. Danzo stretched out his hand to take back the sealing technique all over the house to avoid destroying the house. He turned his head and said, I have already said, my name is Shimura Danzo. The worldview established over the years is somewhat broken. How could there be another Shimura Danzo? After thinking about it carefully, he glanced at Uchiha Shisui and motioned him to act as soon as possible. Uchiha Kagami was stunned by the scene just now, and when he got the signal from the elderly Danzo, he became cruel, and his eyes instantly turned into kaleidoscope writing Sharingan. Tears of blood flowed down, and the monocular pupil technique was activated. The strongest illusion. Don't God. Conversations between adults, go to the kid. Danzo looked at him without fear. It's just a descendant of Uchiha Kagami. Your grandfather was brought up by labor and management, and now you, a grandchild, dare to beat your grandfather. Is it against the sky? Once the pupil power of the kaleidoscope Sharingan enters Danzo's spiritual world, it is like a mud cow entering the sea, turning into pure yin escape chakra and blending into the black air. In Shisui's sight, in Danzo's spiritual world, there is a white dragon and a black tiger entangled and fighting each other. As soon as my mental power entered it, it was immediately dissipated by the tremendous pressure. The severe pain forced Shisui Uchiha to cover his left eye and half kneel on the ground. What? Elderly Danzo's eyes widened, and the trump card he arranged was so easily resolved by myself in front of me. Even he himself has no power to resist such a terrifying ability of other gods. But Danzo is like calligraphy and painting freehand brushwork, which has no influence on him at all. Isn't it the same person? How big is the difference in strength? After swallowing the yin escape chakra of Bietianshan's illusion, Danzo actually felt a slight improvement in strength, and couldn't help sighing. Bietianshan's illusion is really powerful. These words fell on Uchiha Shisui and the elderly Danzo, the corners of their mouths twitched. There is nothing wrong with this illusion falling on you, is it still powerful? You pressed the top 2 Konoha combat powers against the ground and rubbed them. Give up the idea of calling the root ninja to attack. Based on their strength, coming in is also delivering food, so it's better to keep their strength. Danzo looked at Uchiha Shisui with his eyes, and it seemed that Bietianshan could use one eye once. In that case, there is another chance? After thinking about it, he still shook his head. In any case, he is a descendant of his younger brother, so it's really wrong to do this. Danzo, are you really the 3rd Hokage of Konoha? The elderly Danzo hesitated and asked. Of course, it's just not this time and space. Danzo picked up the drink bought in the refrigerator, opened a can and drank it with satisfaction. Uchiha Shisui and the elderly Danzo looked at each other. This secret made their scalps tingle. Different time and space? The elderly Danzo remembered that the village had just experienced the 3rd battle in the ninja world, and couldn't help asking, what's the situation over there? I just had a fight with IWA Ninja, Cloud Ninja, and Mist Ninja. Danzo replied. What was the result? Where is teacher Tobirama? Be careful of the golden horn and silver horn. He reminded that the war was the cause of teacher Tobirama's death. We conquered the enemy, I slaughtered the golden and silver horns, and Tobuma sensei is still alive. Danzo laughed, and now Konoha has finally entered a stable period. Yun Nin is already so crippled that he can't be more crippled. 3 cage level combat powers died, leaving only 1 cage level, and the 3rd generation of Ai is still there. I just don't know how other ninja villages treat Konoha. Excuse me, Danzo-sama, I want to ask, what about the Uchiha clan? Uchiha Shisui raised his hand and asked expectantly. The injured eye was nothing compared to the family. He wanted to hear news about Uchiha, even if it was from another time and space. Uchiha will always be an inseparable part of Konoha, Danzo said firmly. Shisui's eyes are extremely excited. It seems that the Uchiha clan in another world will live well. It's a pity that the 4th Hokage who was inclined to Uchiha has died, otherwise, the current Uchiha should be the same, right? Danzo then smiled again. Also, Cloud Ninja, Mist Ninja, Sand Ninja, and Rock Ninja are all Konoha's territory since ancient times. In your lifetime, you must integrate the ninja world into Konoha. When the 2 of them heard Danzo's words, they immediately took a deep breath, which was very courageous. At the same time, a raging flame ignited in his heart, and Hokage should have this kind of courage. What kind of conspiracy and tricks are up? Real men should fight out and follow the kingly way. When the cake is not enough, it is not to calculate each other, but to work together to make the cake bigger. The elderly Danzo is a pure hawk, and it is his lifelong wish to expand the territory. In addition, don't look at Shisui being so indecisive between the family and the village. It's because they are all from their own family, and they have never been soft when dealing with enemies. The reputation of Shishin Shisui was earned by himself. Bang bang bang. Just as the 3 of them were talking, there was an explosion from the Hyuga clan in the distance. Flames and shouts pierced the sky. A root ninja came in and said out of breath, Danzo-sama, it's an emergency. The Cloud Ninja delegation intends to kidnap the little princess of the Hyuga clan. The Cloud Ninja who broke in was killed by the ninja from the Hyuga branch. Now Hokage-sama is negotiating with them. After listening, the 3 present looked at each other, and Chi-Chi rushed out with the instant body technique. All root ninjas, follow me. the old Danzo said to all the root ninjas surrounding the house. Uchiha Shisui thought for a while, and separated a shadow clone to drive into the family. Perhaps this is a good opportunity to change the status of the family. In the Leaf Chamber, the Hyuga clan, Hokage, and Kumo Shinobi gathered together. Representatives of Yunin. What's going on? Why did Yunin come to our Hyuga clan's land, intending to kidnap Princess Hyuga? Hinata Hiyashi suppressed his anger and questioned the representative of Yunin. What they kidnapped was Hinata's head family, and most likely Hinata's future head. That's riding shit on them. If he hadn't discovered and killed that cloud ninja, his daughter would have been snatched away by them. Representative Yun Nin cursed secretly. The information given by the spies was indeed a little off, and the cloud ninja he sent to infiltrate was killed by Hinata. Seeing Hyuga and Hiyashi's furious appearance, the representative of Yunin was also a little flustered. The Hyuga clan killed many people on the battlefield of Yunin. He had to come up with a way, and when he rolled his eyes, he saw Hiruzen Sarutobi who had been patient with them before, so he had a plan. Hitting the table fiercely, the representative of Yunin sneered, I also want to ask Patriarch Hyuga why my warrior of Yunin died in the Hyuga clan's land, or was killed by you. Is this trying to provoke the relationship between our Yunin and Konoha? Sarutobi Hiruzen finally stopped his smoking hand. For him, the peace agreement must be signed. Obviously it's you. Hyuga Hiyashi was furious. He didn't expect that he would dare to complain first, so he couldn't help saying loudly. Okay, Patriarch Hyuga. Sarutobi Hiruzen stopped him, looked at the representative of Yunin, and said with a smile on his face, well, both sides take a step back, and let's leave this matter alone. The Hyuga clan was shocked after hearing this. This is no longer a provocation, but a move. Is Hokage really that weak? Hyuga Hinata, who has been a die-hard supporter of Hokage for 3 generations, fell silent. Before he could speak, the representative of Yunin spoke first. His eyes flashed, and he had already grasped the lifeline of this aging Hokage. This time, maybe there is no need for compensation, and he can still slap the Hyuga clan in the face. Forget it. How could it be forgotten? The one who died now is the warrior of my cloud ninja, and I want Hinata to pay for it. You are simply wishful thinking. Hinata Hiyashi laughed angrily. How could Hokage agree to such an outrageous condition? Turning his head to look, he found Sarutobi Hiruzen's face was tangled, and his heart turned cold. He was actually considering this outrageous condition. Seeing that Sarutobi Hiruzen was hesitating, the representative of Yunin was overjoyed and said again, if you don't pay for your life, then I declare that the peace agreement between Yunin and Konoha is invalid. There was a sarcasm in his eyes. The current Konoha is really a waste. If this third Hokage was like the other 3 Hokages, he wouldn't dare to be so arrogant even if he had 10 guts. Nizuru, you have to think about the village. Sarutobi Hiruzen sighed and said. Master Hokage. Hinata couldn't believe what he said. The majestic shadow of a village, let his own villagers die, and he is still the patriarch of the Hyuga clan. If he really does this, the Hyuga clan will be helpless in front of Yun Nin. It's an old man, I beg you. Sarutobi Hiruzen met his eyes, showing a hint of pleading. Hinata next to him gritted his teeth. He had the will to die in his heart, and he absolutely couldn't let the elder brother of the clan leader die. He is willing to die for his brother. The representative of Yunin stared at the scene in front of him with great interest, and despised Hiruzen Sarutobi. He is really a softie. It seems that after returning, the village's attitude towards Konoha can be a little tougher. I see. Hinata lowered his head weakly. Since Sarutobi Hiruzen said this, he must die. If he does not agree, he will definitely resort to those conspiracy methods against the Hyuga clan in the future. Just like the current Uchiha, everyone shouts and beats. Seeing the performance of the Hyuga clan, Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded in satisfaction, and said hypocritically, the village will compensate you. Compensation like 4 generations of orphans. Hyuga Hiyashi sneered in his heart. The last order of the patriarch before his death must separate the Hyuga clan from the political faction of the 3 generations. Otherwise, the Hyuga clan will be eaten by him until there are no bones left. The representative of Yunin cast a glance at Sarutobi Hiruzen, and said casually, in this case, then we, Yunin, will reluctantly answer. Bang. Promise me. Danzo kicked the door of the meeting room, and looked around with tiger eyes, not caring about Sarutobi Hiruzen's eyes. The 2 brothers Hinata raised their heads, and new hope rose in their eyes. Your Excellency is not from Konoha, so you are too lenient? Sarutobi Hiruzen recognized Danzo as the mysterious person, and warned. Danzo flipped up his bamboo hat, grinned, showing his big white teeth. Hey, Konoha's 3rd generation Hokage Shimura Danzo is here. Presumptuous. Sure enough, Danzo is playing tricks again, right? Sarutobi Hiruzen was furious. Do you want to become Hokage if you use the transformation technique to change into your youthful appearance and put on a royal robe? Go dream. In the past, others made him take the blame, but now he has to make his own scapegoat, right? Oh, Guikun is really chaotic, I have seen it today. Representative Yun Nin looked at this scene and said sarcastically. The tone was extremely disdainful, completely treating everyone in Konoha as a clown. I'm sorry, this. Sarutobi Hiruzen was about to say sorry when suddenly a bloody arrow hit his face, and spots of red stained his white clothes. Representative Yun Nin, who spoke just now, covered his throat and fell powerlessly into a pool of blood. Not far from him, a bamboo hat was stuck on the table, the edges were bloody. What are you doing? Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at the scene in front of him in disbelief. He's too noisy, isn't he? Danzo went to the hat, picked it up again, and put it on his head. It's over, Konoha is over. Sarutobi Hiruzen slumped on the chair powerlessly. Come on. The representative of Yunin is dead, so there is no need to think about the peace agreement. Prepare to face Yunin's revenge. Thinking of Yun Nin's terrifying force, he shivered. Now that the fourth generation of Raikage is at its peak in spring and autumn, how many cage-level combat powers are there in Konoha village? Apart from himself, there are Uchiha Shisui and Shimura Danzo left. One surnamed Uchiha, don't worry. The other is thinking about usurping the throne every day, let alone worry. Namikaze Minato and Uzumaki Kushina died in the Nine Tails Rebellion. 3 disciples taught by myself. Jiraiya also went to other countries every day, euphemistically calling it to collect materials, so he was hiding from himself. Orochimaru defected, but was let go by himself. Tsunade suffers from hemophobia and indulges himself in major casinos, dreaming and dying. No one is available. How powerful Konoha used to be, why is it getting worse and worse? Isn't it just a cloud ninja village? Just hit it. Danzo sat on a chair indifferently. With his current strength, he joined forces with the remaining ninjas in Konoha, and it would not be a big problem to deal with a cloud ninja village. Hit? You mean easy? Who's going to hit? Sarutobi Hiruzen slapped the table, stood up, and glared at his old man. Playing with myself like I was when I was young, I endured it. Putting on the Naruto Yushin robe, I endured it. Now you are brazenly saying that you want to start a war with Yun Nin. How many skills does your kid have, does he not know? At best, his strength is about the same as his own. My Hyuga clan is here to fight. Hyuga Hiyashi, who had been sitting quietly next to him, said. His eyes are full of fighting spirit. Now that the enemy puts a butcher's knife on his neck, what peace do he ask for? My Uchiha clan is also participating in the war. Outside the conference hall, Uchiha Shisui took Uchiha Fugaku across the gate. They had a hunch that this was definitely the best way to change Uchiha's status quo. The elderly Danzo walked in with a cane, the Nibu ninja and the Shimura clan also joined the battle. Seeing the elderly Danzo come in, Hiru Sarutobi's scalp felt numb, pointed at Danzo who was sitting on the seat and smiled, swallowed, and said, Danzo, you are here, so who is this? I've already said, Shimura Danzo, the third Hokage of Konoha in different time and space. Danzo raised his legs. Behind him, the Hyuga clan, Uchiha clan, Nibi, and Shimura clan all stood behind. A red light flashed in their eyes, and the 3 black shadow generals felt Danzo's call, suppressed their inner excitement, and hurried across the Dark Kingdom, appearing behind Danzo. Every Sombra general has cage-level combat strength, and countless Sombra ninjas and super cage-level strengths are enough to challenge any shadow village. Even if Uchiha Madara wants to make trouble now, he can fight. Feeling the strong fighting spirit of Danzo, all the ninjas who supported the war were full of fighting spirit. Konoha ninja. Why bother fighting? The corner of Danzo's mouth curled up, at least this Konoha's blood is still hot, and there is still hope of nirvana. I'd rather die standing than live on my knees. Elderly Danzo leaned on a cane and knocked on the ground with a firm tone. As Hokage, I do not agree with your actions this time. Sarutobi Hiruzen roared with an ugly face, like an old lion whose territory had been violated. Danzo waved his hand indifferently. As Hokage, I agree to this war. Nia, Lazo, you two go and control Sarutobi Hiruzen. Furukawa Kai and Mizuki Yuma stepped forward with grinning grins, and set him up on the left and right, and the 2 cage-level powerhouses could completely suppress him. Exploitation of territory, just now. The elderly Danzo was very excited. Since they took charge of the family, Konoha has always been the party that has been declared war, and has never really rolled up its sleeves to fight. This time, we must beat Yunin village to the ground. The corner of Danzo's mouth twitched, wondering if he was in conflict with Yunin. He just checked out Yunin village, and now another Yunin village popped up. It would be impolite not to brush. Looking at the approaching Furukawa Kai and Mizuki Yuma, Sarutobi Hirazane yelled at Danzo while resisting, "You will drag Konoha into the quagmire of war. Dignity is only above the edge of the sword, and truth is always within the range of ninjutsu." Danzo sneered and said word by word. Then he waved his hands impatiently. "Little ones, cut him off." Yes. Seeing what the elder brother said, the two of them didn't dare to play anymore. They directly used the sealing technique to control him, and dragged him to Konoha prison. Looking at their own camp, Uchiha and Hinata, the two families who usually do not deal with each other, are now sitting together calmly. The next step is to set the tone of this war. It is better to cut off one finger than to hurt 10 fingers. Since Yunnan village is jumping like this, then the target is to choose them. The purpose is to cripple Yunnan village. Although there are no cage-level ninjas in the Hyuga family, there are not a few ninjas at the Jonin level. There are 2 Uchiha cage levels, in addition to Uchiha Shisui and Uchiha Fugaku, the old Yinbi. The elderly Danzo is considered a cage. With his influence and his own strength, it is enough to mobilize the remaining ninjas in the village to join the war. I have a super shadow and 6 shadow ranks. Who dares to stop in today's ninja world? Just the current strength of Yunnan village. 2 tails and 8 tails are considered to be cage-level combat power. Although the 4th generation of Raikage is good, Tai Potion is only cage level, still not as good as his father's super cage level ninja. Don't look at the 3rd generation of Ai being bullied like that by himself. The 3rd generation of Raikage is capable of fighting the 10,000 names of Iwanin. If he can't keep up with his physical strength, he can kill Iwanin by himself. It's a pity that Onoki used tricks to drag him to death. With all the calculations, there are no more than 1 hand of ninjas in the Cloud Ninja village. This battle is the first battle of my Konoha Lion's dream awakening. The elderly Danzo slapped the table and stood up. Uchiha Fugaku embraced his arms. The 3rd Hokage had been captured, and he didn't want to bear it any longer. The kaleidoscope Sharingan appeared in his eyes, and Uchiha's rebelliousness was fully revealed. It is a battle for the world to witness the power of my Uchiha clan. There are no cowards in the Hyuga clan, the young Hyuga Hiashi said in a deep voice. He also needs a war to prove himself. What happened today made him understand that there is no need for Hinata to create a clan in a branch. The improvement of strength is best on the battlefield. Talented clans are protected too well by the division, and they can't feel the pressure at all. Otherwise, there won't be a shadow class for so long. You are responsible for mobilizing all the ninjas in Konoha to participate in the war, initiating public opinion, and inspiring everyone's enthusiasm for war. Danzo turned his head and told the old Danzo. Elderly Danzo nodded. He was still a bit thin-faced, and public opinion found that he was also familiar. Uchiha and Hinata, you are in charge of dealing with the Junin in Yunnan. The 2 patriarchs nodded firmly, comparing their combat power at the Junin stage. Every Uchiha and Hinokino can beat Kamen and Jonaman. Uchiha Shisui asked in confusion, what about the tailed beast and Raikage? What about the logistics? The people present also seemed to come over. This is the most important point. Of course I beheaded them. The Zanpakuto appeared silently in Danzo's hand, and he inserted it on the conference table with a kind tone. I will ask the daimyo for the logistics. If he doesn't give it, I'll cut him off too, and it will be fine to push the blame to Yunnin. Sure enough, there is no one who can become Hokage pure, which is exactly the same as the 2nd generation Hokage. The elderly Danzo wiped his sweat. Tailed beasts have belonged to Konoha since ancient times. What is a single 9-tailed beast? I want all the tailed beasts. Danzo knocked on the table and said coldly. Afternoon, our Konoha is the teacher of the king, different from their group of jumping clowns. How dare Konoha? 4th Raikage looked angrily at the gauntlet sent by Konoha, and next to him was the Cloud Ninja delegation he sent to carry out secret missions. They lay neatly on the ground one by one. I really can't figure out where Konoha has the courage to declare war on them, and there are only a group of old, weak, sick and disabled left in the village. If he hadn't taken into account that Jiraiya and Tsunade would fight against Kumo Ninja after Konoha encountered a war, he would have declared war long ago. Annoyed, he threw the declaration of war to the righteous brother next to him. Kurabi, read it. Kurabi took the declaration of war and began to sing unconsciously. Yo, yo, Yun has no faith, hypocrisy, peace in the open, stabbing in the dark, skr. Now I have my master Konoha, I feel disdainful, raise up righteous soldiers and defeat the bandits. That's enough, shut up. 4th Eye covered his face, he was so angry that he let this guy speak. Yo, yo, big brother, don't be too irritable, I haven't finished reading, you listen and I'll give it to you. Kurabi wanted to show another piece of his rap, but was defeated by Sidai-Eye's murderous eyes. Everyone, obey orders, order troops, assemble. Sidai-Eye stood up, punched the table, and the hard stone table turned into stones and fell to the ground. Looking around, the Cloud Ninja, high-level ninja, said in a deep voice. If he wants to fight, then we will accompany him, just to let the world know how powerful I am, Yun Nin. Just to wash away the shame Iwa Ninja brought to me. Yes. Cloud Ninja executives responded one after another. This matter is also a shame to them. A dignified Lei Ying died in battle because of the burden of the village. They must pay back this debt, and Konoha is their first battle for supremacy. The declaration of war was spread throughout the ninja world through newspapers. The breath of war swept across the whole world again. The war between the two big ninja villages made those little ninja villages tremble. The other three major ninja villages sent spies to observe the changes in Konoha. How could Konoha Ninja, who has always been cowardly under Sarutobi Hiruzen, be so abnormal this time, daring to declare war on Yun Ninja who had recovered his strength? They are all war lunatics from top to bottom. Even Yan'an village beat Yunnan to death after all kinds of calculations. Does Konoha think he is the first village under the first and second Hokage? And directly declared war, now it is just an empty shell. Did Konoha go crazy too? Talking about disdain for Konoha, but invariably stopped making small movements against Konoha. They dare to deal with the weak Konoha. Facing a crazy Konoha, they dare not. It would be bad if they were dragged into the water. Anyway, Konoha still has the No-1 family in the ninja world, the Uchiha family. A dead skinny camel is bigger than a horse. Frontier battlefield. The cold wind is bitter, and the killing intent is rushing. Konoha and Yun Ninja stood on both sides, and representatives from other ninja villages around watched quietly. No matter who wins this war, it will be a change to the order of the ninja world today. All the Cloud Ninjas were gearing up, looked at the opposite Konoha Ninja, and smiled disdainfully. After 4 generations of Raikage's development for so many years, the strength of Yunnan village has risen again, and the overall strength of ninjas is above all ninja villages except Konoha. The standing high-end combat power is twice that of Konoha. The 4th Raikage and Karabi, who stood at the front of the line, folded their arms, ignoring Konoha, who nominally belonged to the first shadow village in front of them. The heart is extremely hot. After today's battle, the name of the number 1 shadow village in the ninja world will be pressed on his Cloud Ninja. Ancestral Hall C position. Champion the 3 armies. Expand the territory. He wants to put his tablet on top. Dad and Grandpa, I'm sorry, everything depends on the record. Both generations of you were more or less suppressed by Konoha's second Hokage. Fortunately, the young master was born late, which caught up with the good time when Sarutobi Hiruzen was in power. With a move of his left hand, countless clouds behind him shouted, "Turn over Konoha, unify the ninja world." Looking at Yun Nin's brutal way of promoting morale opposite, Danzo smiled. This group of people with muscle bumps in their brains don't understand the principle of killing people with the word benevolence and righteousness. Walking slowly to the front of Konoha Ninja, he said to Yun Ninja, whose morale was boiling. Konoha has stood in the ninja world so far, and has never taken the initiative to start a war. This is the village of righteousness. The first Hokage, the founder of the village, distributes ninja beasts to the 4 villages to build peace. This is an act of kindness. When other ninja villages come to Konoha, no matter how big or small, they are all visitors from all over the world, and they are treated equally. This is a big heart. After these words, both Yun Nin and the representatives of the other big and small ninja villages who were watching were lost in thought. This person makes sense. Only Konoha can be so stupid. The first generation obviously has the power to regain the ninja world, and they have to set up a 5-village balance system. It gave them a chance to survive in Shaonin village. If the ninja world replaced Yun Ninja as the leader, with their temperament, the first thing they would do would be to swallow up some small ninja villages near his border. Danzo glanced around. Very good, the other ninja villages have been fooled for the time being. At least not in a short time to attack Konoha. Damn, I don't know when it started. The 4 major ninja villages usually fight their own way. Once Konoha is off the court, they will directly concentrate their firepower on Konoha. It's like being united as one person. In the ninja battle, 4 against 1 in the early stage and 3 against 1 in the later stage. In World War E in the ninja world, it was the Rain Ninja who started the war against Sand Ninja and Konoha, but Konoha hit 2 again. In the 3rd battle in the ninja world, Cloud Ninja, Fog Ninja, and Rock Ninja attacked Konoha again. If it weren't for Namikaze Minato's 1-2 victory over the Yun and Ab combination, Matt put on the 8-door armor and kicked the 7-1-in ninja swordsman into 3 auspicious treasures. As far as Sarutobi Hiruzen's ability is concerned, it would be nice to be able to beat Iwan in 1-on-1. Clearing his throat, Danzo took a step forward and continued. There is a yellow-toothed child. relying on the strength of his soldiers, intending to invade our borders and plunder our people, the peace that countless ancestors sacrificed in the ninja world for nearly 100 years. Looking into the eyes of the fourth generation of I, he said word by word. 4 generations of I. It's just a person who is unkind, unrighteous, unfilial, shallow-sighted. Sidai-I's eyes widened, he covered his chest, panting, and every sentence of the man on the opposite side hit Yun Nin's morale. The morale that he had managed to get up to was totally demoralized. Using the benevolence and righteousness accumulated by Hokage in the past as a sword, he stabbed Yun Nin. He couldn't let him talk anymore. Sidai-I's heart skipped a beat, his mouth was enough to make the dead alive. A sharp-tongued kid. Full of crooked reasoning. Everyone, don't listen to his nonsense, I declare as Lei Ying, let's go to war. After winning this battle, gold and silver treasures, ninjutsu cheats, drinking and eating meat. Jumping onto the battle drum stand and beating the war drum himself, once again aroused Yun Nin's fighting spirit. Thick greed blindfolded their eyes. Although the fourth generation of I mobilized their fighting spirit, their inner goals quietly changed this time. From fighting for the honor of the village to fighting for profit. It is difficult to maintain long-term courage if you show off your courage for a while. Brothers Konoha, defend your home and country, fight against wolves. Danzo turned his head and shouted at Konoha Ninja, who was already full of enthusiasm. Flames burst out of Konoha Ninja's eyes. They are the party of justice, why should they be afraid of these guys? The Hyuga clan and the Uchiha clan responded first, raising their arms, blood battle. All Konoha ninjas shouted in unison, blood battle. The heart has already recognized the emergence of the 3 generations of Hokage. Although there were 2 endorsements by the elderly Danzo and the Sarutobi Hiruzen who was controlled by Shisui before. But I still don't have much confidence in my heart. Now if he dares to stand up and reconnect Konoha's broken spine, then he will be the shadow respected by Konoha Ninja. The fighting spirit of the 2 sides reached the peak, and the 4th generation of I was shirtless, with lightning flashing on him, and asked Danzo very seriously. Konoha's new Hokage, what's your name? No, I'm Konoha's 3rd Hokage Shimura Danzo. Danzo grinned, and looked at the 4th generation I, Kurabi, and 2nd generation Yukito standing in front of Yun Nin. Arrogance. He wanted to challenge 3 cage-level ninjas in one go, so loud. Kurabi slowly pulled out the ninja sword, and the 2nd generation Yumu man with a tailed beast coat appeared. The 4th generation of I entered the lightning chakra mode, looked at Danzo coldly, then, I will satisfy you. The 4th Raikage with flaxen hair slowly took off the white cloak on his body, revealing a burly figure full of explosive power. There is a green, shuriken, logo tattooed on both shoulders, and it wears a wide belt and thick wrist armor. As his eyes became more serious, blue lightning shrouded his entire body. Lei Dun chakra mode. Clenching his fist, Sidai-I smiled cruelly. He wanted to blow up the Danzo in front of him with one punch. Let the world show the power of his cloud ninja. The thunder and lightning on his body added another point, and there was a rumbling thunder, and all his hair stood up, like a violent beast. Compared with Danzo, it looked even more oppressive. The strongest thunder escape armor. The 2nd generation by the wooden man looked at Raikage beside him showing this state, and couldn't help saying. Raikage is going to get serious. Since Namikaze Minato's death, his speed is the fastest in the ninja world today. If Namikaze Minato is a yellow flash, then 4th Eye is a blue lightning. Kurabi touched his head silently, shivering. Since he became the perfect Jinchuriki, Hashio's memory began to be shared with him. Among them, the 4th generation of I cut off one of the 8 tails horns, and beat the majestic 8 tails into a one-horned cow and horse. This is the armor of Thunder Escape. With this level of power, it's no wonder he dares to declare war on Konoha. Danzo narrowed his eyes and praised without hesitation. With full power, the 4th generation of I is probably the top powerhouse in the shadow class, no matter in terms of attack power, defense power or speed, he is at the top. Judging from Konoha's current strength, no one is really his opponent in one-on-one. It can even be said to be the number 1 ninja in the ninja world. Except Uchiha Madara and Nagato with reincarnation eyes, and Otsutsuki on the moon. Except death, Konoha. Sidai-I felt the terrifying power contained in his body, hooked the corner of his mouth, pressed down his body, and disappeared in place in an instant. Polishing balls. A powerful blow was issued from under his feet, attacking Danzo fiercely, and the air along the way was exploded by him, and the roar of thunder and air shook the eardrums of the people around him. Good come. Danzo's eyes were extremely excited. Countless powers emerged from the cells, the armed color instantly covered them, and he threw a punch face to face. Compared with the extremely fast Sidai-I, Danzo's move is extremely slow, looks soft, and has no strength at all. Seeing that Danzo in front of him dared to confront him head-on, Sidai grinned. Even Namikaze Minato relied on speed to win, so he didn't dare to confront him head-on. How dare you? Since you want to die so quickly, then I will fulfill you. The two attacks collided in the blink of an eye, and the strong wind swept across the audience in an instant. Some ninjas with low strength needed to use all their strength to keep from being blown away by the wind. Fourth Eye let out a maniacal laugh. Such power could split a hill. Now the bones should be broken by myself. Sure enough, there was a clicking sound, and the sound of bone dislocation came, but Sidai's smile froze on his face. The bones were indeed broken, but they were not Danzo's, but his own. A sharp pain hit, and the blow he was determined to win did not bring the result he imagined. In a blink of an eye, Sidai immediately pulled away and left. With a twist of his hand, he pushed back the misplaced bone with his own hands. Just a few drops of cold sweat on his forehead indicated that he was not at ease. The contempt in my heart has disappeared. This person is definitely not simple. What exactly do you want to do? I just want to kill you, or be killed by you. Danzo smiled heartily. HMPH. Let's see if you have the ability. The violent fourth generation Eye was instantly angry, and no one had ever dared to be so arrogant in front of him. Lay abuse level Chio dance. Jumping in midair, the violent thunder and lightning concentrated on the hands, and swooped down, using the hands as knives. This is exactly how he chopped the 8 tails into cows and horses. This trick is a bit worth seeing. Zanpakuto condensed out in his hand, everything is ashes, and the blade is like fire. Surrounded by flames, he lowered his body and stared at Sidai, who was like an eagle in the air with Danzo's eyes, drawing his sword. Flowing blade like fire song Ming. The moment the knife was drawn, a raging fire tornado emerged from the scabbard. It's just a fire escape. Fourth Eye didn't dodge or dodge, his eyes were bloodshot, and he just wanted to kill Danzo as soon as possible. Bite the bullet and rushed in against the flames. I thought in my heart that Danzo's flames were at most the same as the fireballs released by ordinary ninjas, and I could still bear it. At the moment when the flames engulfed the fourth generation of Eye, he who looked down on Huo Dun suddenly let out a cry of pain. The fiery red sky contains thunder and lightning. Big brother. Lord Raikage. Karabi and the second generation Yumu couldn't sit still, and rushed over immediately, and entered the half-tailed beast at the same time. The two-tailed beast Jade condensed in the mouth and locked on Danzo. Danzo sneered, the blade condensed into raging flames, and swung it violently. Flowing blade like fire, burning the city. The flames released by the blade rushed towards the two of Karabi like a huge palm. Before the tailed beast Jade was released, they could only be forced to give up and quickly ran away from the attack range of the flames. The fourth Raikage had a chance to escape from the envelopment of the flames, and his body already exuded a faint burnt smell. Even with the protection of Thunderdun chakra, he was tormented by the extremely high temperature like fire. Her bronze-colored skin became even darker. If you were a coal digger before, now you are a coal digger in Africa. Karabi, use that trick. Fourth Raikage knew that he could not take down Danzo by himself, and wondered why Konoha had such a level of genius monster again, and his heart shuddered. The tacit understanding honed over the years made Karabi understand the meaning of the fourth generation of Eye at once, and nodded heavily. The two surrounded Danzo one by one. The lightning chakra appeared again on the fourth generation of Eye, and the tailed beast's coat spread rapidly on Karabi's body, and the bones of the tailed beast appeared on the elbow. Both feet stepped heavily on the ground, and the thigh muscles bulged one by one, accumulating terrifying strength. Bang! At the moment of action, countless cracks appeared on the ground, and the surrounding ground collapsed. Like two meteors, they rushed from opposite directions at an extremely fast speed, facing Danzo in the center. When the two were Jonin, they used this move to kill the cage-level powerhouse of Iwanin. Lei Dun Zetsu Niu Lei Plow Hot Knife. Today, no matter who you are, die here for me. Two rays of light, one blue and one red, collided quickly. A huge amount of energy was concentrated at one point, and it exploded with Danzo as the center, and the land within a radius of several miles was severely suppressed. The cracks continued to spread around, and soon came to the feet of a group of ninjas. The expressions of the ninjas on both sides changed drastically, and they ran back quickly. Damn, run. Don't hold back labor if you want to die. Back. 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 Just as they were running to their respective backs, the ground under their feet cracked one after another, continuously collapsed, dust filled the sky, and a huge deep pit appeared in everyone's sight. The people who had just escaped were stunned and murmured. Is this still a power that humans can reach? Even the tail beast can't withstand this blow, right? Konoha Ninja couldn't help but worry. With this level of attack, even the previous Naruto Sarutobi Hiruzen would be killed. Seeing the effect of this earth-shattering blow, Yunnin's side cheered. From their point of view, there is no human being who can withstand this blow head-on. Ha ha ha, Konoha ninja, surrender quickly, so we can save your life. With the joint efforts of Lord Raikage and Sir Karabi, he is dead. The title of the No.1 Shadow Village in the ninja world belongs to us Yunnin. The smoke slowly dissipated, Yunnin ninja was stunned, and the lightning chakra on Karabi and Sidai faintly shone through the dust and mist. But their expressions were extremely strained, and the Danzo in the center was wrapped in a cloud of black air, with a thin layer of liquid, but it was able to compete with them. This level of attack is terrifying. The unscathed Danzo raised his head, glanced lazily at the two of them, and thrust the Zanpakuto into the ground fiercely. Flowing blade like fire rejection. Flames soaring into the sky erupted from under their feet, and the instant burst of flames shook all the surrounding objects away, giving the two of them a zero-distance attack. The defenses on the fourth generation of Ai and Karabi were like paper at this moment, and they were immediately broken. The extreme heat burned their skin. Karabi's upper body clothes turned into ashes and disappeared with the wind, and their hair was scalded into charcoal. From a distance, they looked like two black marinated eggs. Danzo-sama is still alive, Konoha ninja said in surprise. His morale has soared, and even such a terrifying move can't help Danzo, so there's nothing to be afraid of. Picking up the weapon, he looked at Yunnin with malicious intent. Danzo raised his arm, stretched out his index finger, pointed at the cloud ninjas, and said in a cold voice. All troops attack. Yes. Numerous Konoha ninjas frantically rushed towards the demoralized Yunnin, their eyes filled with hatred that had accumulated for a long time. Especially the Hyuga clan, charging at the forefront, aiming at the acupoints with white eyes. You just want to come and attack my Princess Hyuga, right? The fourth generation of Ai's face was ugly, and with a wave of his hand, the cloud ninjas rushed forward one after another. It's just that compared with Konoha ninja, the difference is not 130. It looks fierce, but it is actually a bit timid. Yumorin, Karabi, don't hold back anymore, fourth Ai said in a deep voice. The two nodded, and Karabi began to dance. I still have the energy, my charm shines. Eight-tailed Karabi is me, yay, ah. The second generation Yumu man walked away silently, keeping a little distance from him, and formed a seal in his hand, iron armor seal. Unlock it. The two behemoths appeared on the spot in an instant, causing everyone to be amazed. Our way travels again. A giant cat demon covered in blue chakra flames. Eight-tailed ox ghost. A unicorn with an octopus tentacled tail. Master Danzo. Why don't you leave it to us? Uchiha Fugaku and Uchiha Shisui appeared beside Danzo. Open the kaleidoscope Sharingan, you can transform into Susanoo at any time, and head-to-head with tailed beasts. No, they leave it to me. While speaking, Arway rushed in front of Danzo, his cat's eyes flashed, and he raised his flaming claws high, intending to photograph them. Cat's paw. Eight tails behind him put the attack target on the attacking Konoha ninja, took a deep breath, and spit out countless ink to transform into avatars. Hundreds of millions of angry slaves are annoying. If this trick hits, it is enough to seal thousands of Konoha ninjas within 3 seconds. The corner of Danzo's mouth curled up, and he slowly turned the Zanpakuto inserted in the ground with his hand, and the whole ground was instantly filled with fiery red color, filling the entire basin. Flowing blade like fire, scorching hell. Dozens of sky-reaching fire pillars erupted from the basin, evaporating the ink of 8 Weiss in the blink of an eye, and the inevitable move was easily disintegrated. The sneak attacking Arway was attacked by the pillars of fire from the front, and the flames gathered together and detonated instantly. This power directly blasted Arway back to the human pillar force form, and he did not dare to come out casually. The second generation Yumu man collapsed to the ground weakly, and the root ninja and the seal class ninja immediately went forward to arrest him. Yumaman. The 4 generations of Ai's eyes are about to burst. This is a shadow-level combat power. It was so easy to be caught. Karabi, who was affected by Eight Tails' personality, was even more furious. He wrapped himself with tentacles, and then spun at a high speed, forming a huge storm, which was powerful enough to change the terrain. Power technique Tailed Beast. A move that is enough to knock 2 to Naneo Jinchuriki unconscious. Danzo-sama. Konoha also has its own power. Uchiha Fugaku and Uchiha Shisui looked at each other and nodded. Susanoo. 2 giants, not inferior in size to the 8 Tails, rose from the ground, and the shape of the skeleton was covered with meridians and flesh and blood. Fuyu Susanoo is almost purple, holding a samurai sword in his hand, enough to cut mountains and seas. Shisui's Susanoo is almost green. Unlike Uchiha Fugaku, he has a larger body, a single-handed spiral sword in his hand, and a black Tengu armor. The man who was forced into a desperate situation after being seriously injured and poisoned, and who can open Gundam with one eye, now still has two Sharingan. Susanoo is even stronger. Facing the tentacles of the attacking tail beast, Uchiha Fugaku rushed up first, followed by Shisui. Susanoo Huo Fireball Art. Fu Yu used Susanoo to spit out fireballs, which were no longer ordinary orange-red flames, but like hellfire. Susanoo, Sword Leaping Flame. The green and purple flames merged together, and Shisui's spiral sword continued to rotate, driving the fire to attack the 8 tails. The red-eyed Hachio rushed forward regardless. Shisui's attack pierced through his chest, and Yao froze in place for an instant. Falling down slowly, the tailed beast chakra on his body receded like a tide, revealing a fainted Karabi. With the fall of Yun Nin's 2 great powers, many Yun Nin lost their fighting spirit, and even the weapons in their hands were almost unsteady. Brothers, shoulder to shoulder. Konoha ninjas boiled up instead. Even if the number was slightly lower than Yunin, they were killed for a while. One person is one country. Countless black shadows spread out from Danzo's feet. For the first time, black shadow ninjas holding samurai swords appeared in this world. Their scarlet eyes are enough to scare anyone. Not afraid of death, not afraid of danger, even if you die, you must do your best to pull down 1 or 2 cloud ninjas. For a time, Yun Ren suffered countless casualties. Fourth Eye looked ugly, grabbed a black shadow ninja with his own hands, and crushed it. Is this Konoha's new avatar technique? With a wave of his arm, Raikage's die-hard supporters rushed up behind him. Cloud ninjas, kill. Darui rushed to the front and met the black shadow ninja head-on. Lay done black spot difference. Leopard-shaped black lightning is released from the body, concentrated attack and spread to all directions. This feature makes the shadow ninja unable to move. With a flash of his eyes and a few punches, the shadow ninjas surrounding him were smashed into shadow fragments and melted into the Shadow Kingdom. The elderly Danzo stared at Darui, who had cleared an open space on the battlefield, and quickly sealed his hands. Wind escape vacuum wave. The sharp wind blade cut him instantly, covered his bleeding arm, and looked solemnly at the elderly Danzo. Another Konoha veteran powerhouse, Darui thought bitterly. The 2 Susanos slashed wantonly on the battlefield, and the fourth Eye just wanted to go up to stop Eye, but was stopped by Danzo. The precise cooperation between Konoha ninja and Black Shadow ninja caused countless cloud ninjas to die every minute. The blood gradually stained the soil red. Sidai Ai took a deep breath, and the situation was over. Loudly said, "Stop, Ai, Yun Ren, surrender, the choice of the wise." Danzo put down the Zanpakuto in his hand and smiled kindly. "Tell me about your conditions." Fourth Eye lowered his head dejectedly. "It's very simple, join our ninja federation, and Konoha and Yunin will be integrated into one family." Danzo took out the handwritten letter that he had already prepared, waiting for his signature. Fourth Eye's eyes widened after hearing this. At first he thought it was just compensation for resources, but Danzo's appetite was so big that he wanted the whole cloud ninja. Sweeping away the handwriting, he said firmly, "This is impossible. I, Yunin, have gone through 4 generations of Raikage, and I must not destroy the village in my hands. If you don't agree, the village will be destroyed in your hands, and I'm not discussing with you." Danzo sneered, and the temperature around him rose slowly. "Yunin is just my first step, Ninja Federation. How can only one village be enough? If you don't join, you will die." Fourth Eye opened his mouth halfway, looking extremely aggrieved. He wanted to fight Danzo desperately. "But the reason in my mind told me, if Yunin doesn't join the Ninja Federation, he will really wipe out the village. If you join, you can also guarantee the lives of the villagers. If there are people, the village will still be there." "Yes, but I, Yunin, want a certain amount of autonomy." After saying this, the fourth Eye collapsed on the ground weakly. Yunin village is really over in his hands, still being swallowed by the weak Konoha in his own eyes. A question came to mind, and I couldn't help asking. What about the names of the 5 great nations? These guys who hold the moneybags will not just watch the 5 great ninja villages merge into one. This is too much of a threat to them. What should I do? Danzo asked back. Damning them. Hiss. Sidai Ai gasped in the middle of speaking. This is so murderous. It seemed that he didn't want the daimyos to continue to exist, and he was a little excited in his heart. He had long been unhappy seeing those useless wretches riding on his head and domineering him. It would be fine if the country could be governed well, but in the end they all ate like pigs, and the people underneath were starving. If it weren't for this, he wouldn't keep thinking about expansion. Danzo, who had conquered Yunin, looked into the distance. The next step-by-step plan is to collect the 9-tailed beasts, integrate the 5 great ninja villages, punch the daimyo, and kick the Akatsuki organization. Danzo had a hunch in his heart that he couldn't stay in this world for too long. That means that everything cannot be completely erased like the original time and space. I can only try my best to integrate all the forces and cut the mess quickly. Let's see if we can absorb the Akatsuki organization. If not, we can only plunge them into darkness. Initiate top-down reforms. Establish a patriarchal system. Let civilian ninjas and small family ninjas hold most of the power. Abolish the monarchy system. Let capable people stand up, and open up talent circulation channels. Draft another plan. After the initial development of talents, create a triangle system. The military power is separated, and politics and law are mutually restricted. The rest depends on how future generations will change again. Having nine-tailed beasts means having nuclear weapons here. At least it can guarantee that people with ulterior motives cannot resist. Hiss. Why do I suddenly feel like a villain? No, my group possession represents justice. The result of this battle spread throughout the ninja world with the battle report. The name Ninja Federation appeared in the eyes of everyone for the first time. What do you guys think? Onoki hunched over and asked with a few coughs. Looking out of the window with cloudy eyes, the rain is pouring, and the wind and clouds are changing, just like this huge ninja world. Many high-level officials of Yan Ninja spoke up one after another. Konoha's move is definitely a wolf's ambition. I suggest sending troops to march. Hearing the words of these hawks, the dove Iwa Shino retorted. How long has our village been at peace? You can put pressure on the meeting to force them to dissolve this federation. According to the battle report, the mysterious person of Konoha is definitely no less powerful than the third generation of Raikage. Didn't we have fewer Iwanin who were killed or injured back then? Everyone in the audience was arguing, each with their own reasons. Onogi's head started to work slowly, sorting out the context of the information sent. What impact will the emergence of Ninja Federation have on the current order? What impact will it have on Yan'an village? As the saying goes, getting old becomes smart, not to mention the longest-lived shadow in history. There was a flash of inspiration in my mind, and I was terrified in my heart. Konoha is not going to want to set off a big change like the first Hokage, right? He picked up the battle report and read it carefully again. It contains the migration plan of the residents of the two countries, the integration of the economy, the development of the country of Thunder into a resource production area, etc., which are extremely detailed. This is a highly operable plan that can rapidly improve people's quality of life. Onoki knew in his heart that it was impossible for spies alone to detect such a detailed plan. Close your eyes and consider all the possibilities. When all the impossibilities are eliminated and there is only one result left, no matter how outrageous the result is, it is correct. There is only one possibility. This plan was released by Konoha on purpose. The future depicted in this plan is enough to drive any ordinary person crazy. Just a talent circulation imperial examination system is enough. Anyone with a little knowledge can feel the benefits of these things to themselves. Ninjutsu is controlled by ninjas. These smart people are hard to touch. They can only send gifted children to Ninja Village. This not only strengthens the power of Ninja Village, but also keeps them from causing trouble. But they don't know about the imperial examination system. Once you know these things, it's like opening Pandora's box. It is enough to set off a huge wave in any country outside the Federation. This is especially true for those living in small countries, which are fatally attractive to them. The first to bear the brunt is the current daimyo aristocratic system linked by blood. Control of the world's wealth. Although Onoki wanted to applaud the person who proposed this method, who made Iwa Shinobi a violent institution attached to the aristocratic system. Unless they abandon the Ninja Village system and join the Ninja Federation, there will be a battle between the two of them. Slowly opened his eyes, and said decisively, if you want to ensure the existence of Yan'an village, you must fight. Thanks to Onogi's authority in Iwanan village, once the tone was set, no one objected. And the last time he designed the plan for Wanming Yan'an to consume 3 generations of he planned it all by himself. After thinking for a while, Onogi issued various orders calmly. Send someone to send a letter to Kirinan and Sandin, telling them that if they want to continue to exist in the village, they must kill the Ninja Federation. In addition, send someone to inquire about how they deal with the nobles of the two countries. The Ambu ninja in the room nodded and disappeared in place. Yes. Stepping on the chair, Onoki flew up slowly, his short body shining with wisdom. Everyone, Iwa Ninja Village, know, a big change is coming in the ninja world. We have to work hard to stabilize the small boat Iwanan. Once it capsizes, we will be in danger on board. Akatsuki. All existing members gather in the Land of Rain for a meeting. Nagato, who was sitting in a wheelchair, manipulated Yahiko to speak. The Ninja Federation seems to plan to collect tailed beasts, and now the 2 tails, the 8 tails, and the 9 tails are all in their hands. Conan looked at Orochimaru with a cold face. I heard that Konoha led the establishment of the organization. Orochimaru, you should know a little bit about it? I just like to study ninjutsu, and I'm not interested in other things. Orochimaru licked his lips and grinned. This time should be a good opportunity to make money, Kakuto said with interest, propping his chin with both hands. Zetsu. All seniors look so strong. Let's wait and see what happens, and vigorously absorb new members to join. Nagato pondered for a while, and said, only by relying on human beings' fear of those pains to suppress wars and guide the world in a painful way can the world move towards peace. A group of Akatsuki members kept nodding. But as long as you look closely, you can see that only Conan is listening seriously, Kei and Kokaku both look indifferent, and Dashi Wan is completely mocking. In his heart, only eternal life is eternity, and everything else is nothing but fantasy. A month has passed. The 3 major shadow villages have just discussed the joint attack. The Ninja Federation absorbed the surrounding small ninja villages to join the Land of Fire, which also means that there is no buffer zone between the remaining 4 major countries. Exhausted, Onoki walked out of the bathroom slowly in his pajamas. It's really hard for him to live to this age and worry about the affairs of the village. Onoki's thoughts are completely different from Sarutobi's Hiruzen. If there is a suitable candidate for the next generation of Tsukage in the village, he would have given up his courage and lived his life in peace. But in the entire Yannin village, except himself, no one has the talent to master the dust escape. Finally, he has a talented grandson, Dadara. Who knew that kid didn't study Chen Dun well, but instead studied Explosion Dun. Deciding that explosions are the only art. Nobody would listen to any persuasion, but Onoki would be very worried. The power of Explosion Dun is unknown, but Chen Dun is a bright road. What's wrong with being able to fly and seize bloodstains being eliminated? Since single attack can also group skills, if you can't fight, you can still run. What kind of bike does this need? Sighing, hammering his sore waist, he walked slowly into the room. The moment he stepped into the room, the battlefield nerves honed over the years immediately jumped. Keep warning him. Danger. 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 Take the liberty to visit. Please don't blame Tsuchikage. Danzo lit a match, lit a candle, and the small fire reflected his face. It's a bit complicated to look at this peer in a certain sense. Now that you are aging like this, will you also become like this in the future? Do you want to pursue the same eternal life as Orochimaru? Danzo thought for a while, smiled and shook his head. The eternal life I hope for is not living like a puppet made of earth and stone. As long as your thoughts can be remembered by the world. The efforts made make people's lives better. That is eternal life. This young man with a somewhat familiar appearance was able to bypass the heavy guards of Iwanin. He even bypassed his perception and came to his room. The strength is definitely far above oneself. But why does it look so familiar? Onogi's old head began to turn, and a familiar face that had been dusty for a long time came into mind. My heart trembled. He moved his fingers, but he didn't move his hands. Instead, he continued to walk into the room and sat cross-legged across from Danzo, like an old friend. Pick up the kettle and make tea. The brown tea came out of the spout and landed on the cup. Onoki picked up the teacup filled with tea and handed it over. It seems that the information is true, Shimura Danzo? I'm Danzo, not Danzo. Danzo took the steaming tea, blew it lightly, and then drank it all in one gulp. I'm Danzo of Konoha's 3rd Hokage. Then what is the purpose of this trip? Onogi also raised his teacup and took a sip. Invite IWA Ninja to join the Ninja Federation. Danzo put down the teacup slowly and got straight to the point. Okay, I agree. Onoki nodded directly unexpectedly. Now it was Danzo's turn to be surprised. Why? This Tsuchikage, who has been in the ninja world for many years, is by no means a person who yields easily. Onogi with the red nose shook his head. I feel the same breath as that ninja Shura in you, but unfortunately there is no one like the 1st Hokage to match you. Back then, both my teacher and I were defeated by Uchiha Madara, not to mention the current Iwanin village. Oh, a wise choice. Danzo smiled lightly. This person is old and mature, then welcome to join. After speaking, he picked up the bamboo hat and walked outside. Onoki picked up the teacup and called Danzo, who walked to the window. Can I ask, what would be the consequences if I didn't agree to join just now? Danzo kept walking and jumped out of the window. Toothless Boy caught him from the bottom up and flew into the sky. Only a faint voice echoed in the room. Kill. It's really murderous. Onogi put the teacup to his mouth and shook his head. With a calm face, he drank for a while, only to realize that there was no more tea in it. It would be great if all the mist ninjas died. In Mizukage's office with only one person, the fourth Mizukage Yukura looked at the village in the thick fog, and said these words with a cold expression. It's hard to imagine that Mizukage, who is the shadow of a village, would hold such hostility towards the village. At this time, there was clapping in my ears. A sense of crisis immediately passed through his nerves, and he turned over and drew out his weapon, aiming at the person sitting on the sofa. It's you, Shimura Danzo. Unexpected, Mizukage-sama. Danzo looked into Yugura's eyes with a smile on his face, as if he was looking at someone through these eyes. Or, Uchiha Obito. Yukura's pupils shrank under control, and Obito Uchiha, who was far away in the land of rain, opened his eyes even more, and the kaleidoscope Sharingan in his pupils twirled wildly. He said coldly on purpose, I don't know what you're talking about. Danzo chuckled, peeled the orange on the table and stuffed it into his mouth. The sweet taste made him squint his eyes. Hey. Taking revenge on the entire Mist Ninja village for Lin really made you successful. I really don't know if you are smart or Mist Ninja is stupid. Oranges are delicious. When Obito heard Danzo say that name, he suddenly became violent, and controlled Yugura to rush towards Danzo. You are not allowed to say that name. Obito Uchiha is dead. The tip of the weapon successfully pierced Danzo, but there was no tactile sensation as expected. Looking at Danzo, who had come to the other end of the sofa in disbelief, he murmured. This phantom. So fast. I almost got hit, I'm really irritable. Danzo stuffed the last piece of orange into his mouth and stood up slowly. Yugura clenched the weapon in his hand tightly, not daring to relax in the slightest. Danzo moved his hands and feet, looked at Yukura on the opposite side, raised the corners of his mouth, and said with a smile. It seems that you don't agree to cooperate, so you can only do it. It was just a puppet, if it's gone, it'll be gone. Uchiha Obito stared at Danzo, and said coldly. Compared with this Mizukage puppet, Danzo who knows his true identity is more important. Half-tail beastization coral palm. The tailed beast chakra quickly covered the body, and slapped Danzo with his palm. Once hit by this move, the part would be covered with coral. The Zanpakuto quickly appeared and merged into Danzo's body. Black wing demon form. The red eyes are like a ghost returning from hell. With a chuckle, a dark green beam of light appeared in his hand, and he stabbed directly at the coral palm. Pucci. The tailed beast's chakra coat was easily torn open, piercing Yugura's palm, and the blood was pouring out. Yukura, who was suffering from pain, began to struggle in his eyes, and the severe pain allowed him to temporarily escape the control of the kaleidoscope. Zitong looked at Danzo, and said word by word, kill me. When he said this, his eyes were full of prayers. Over the years, he was under the control of Obito, and he did not know how many One-in who were loyal to the village were indirectly killed. The dignified Mizukage of One-in village can only curl up in the spiritual space, watching this mysterious man use his body and identity to do his best day after day. Can't even commit suicide. For this Mizukage, Danzo also felt a little sympathetic, being played by a little Obito in this way is for revenge. Sighing, fingers flickering black, satisfy you. Obito had a ferocious face, but he didn't expect to be bitten back by this ant controlled in the palm of his hand. I thought that no matter how bad it was, Danzo's ability could be tested. Hastily yelled at Yugura Katachi in the mental space. What are you doing? Don't you want to die? As a sinner of Mist Ninja, I don't want to live anymore. Goji Yugura looked at Obito's spiritual body with cold eyes, and his heart was full of relief. Holding Obito's spiritual body with both hands, go to hell with me. Humph, idiot. In the mental space, Obito directly kicked down the weak Goji Yugura. These sacrifices are only temporary, as long as an ideal world without wars and eternal peace can be created, a world with Lin. Well, it will all be worth it. The so-called Ninja Federation is nothing but something established in a false world. No value at all. Then, there is no need for you to exist. Obito tore open the sealing technique that held Sano Isofu, and laughed wildly. This false and sinful village, follow Danzo and destroy it. But after a while, there was no movement at all. He turned his head to look at the sealing technique, and his scalp felt numb in an instant. 5 elements unprinted. Seal of sealing evil. 4 elephant seals. More than 10 sealing techniques are engraved in the inner world of Sanwei Isofu, and it looks like it is still increasing. Obito immediately collapsed to the point of wanting to curse. Are you fucking human? Labor and Capital tore apart a sealing technique, and you backhanded Labor and Capital with more than a dozen more? Could it be the reincarnation of Uzumaki Ashina, so exaggerated? Suddenly, a sharp pain spread to Obito's eyes through the kaleidoscope Sharingan. For a moment, he closed his eyes and knelt on the ground. I was horrified in my heart, That Danzo actually had such terrifying mental power, and directly followed Obito's mental line of controlling Goju Yakura, and hit Obito itself. Nowadays, the only way to go is to abandon the car and save the handsome man. Obito endured the pain and cut off the illusion that controlled Yagura Katachi. After success, he propped his hands on the ground, panting heavily. The eyes were swollen and painful, and blood slowly flowed out, dripping down the tip of the nose to the ground. It was stained red. So, Mizukage, would you like to join our ninja federation? Kuju Yakura felt the tragedy of Obito at the last moment. Even people who were so much stronger than him were treated like this, and asked his own opinion. Looking at Danzo's kind smile, he swallowed and nodded. On behalf of Mist Ninja Village, I am willing to join the Ninja Federation. Country of Wind. After a night of raiding, Danzo sat on the sofa board, melting into the darkness, watching Yashimaru and Rasa who were talking. Luo Sha propped her chin with both hands, and said to Yashimaru who was half kneeling on the ground. Yashimaru, the village needs you to do something. Master Kazekage, what's the matter? Yashimaru asked respectfully. Luo Sha looked at him and said word by word, assassinate Gaara. Yashimaru's eyes widened. He didn't understand why the brother-in-law he admired did this, so he couldn't help asking. Why? He didn't become the village's strongest weapon, and he couldn't fight the other ninja villages for the village. He is a failure. Luo Sha gave him a cold look, stood up, and stood by the window. After his development, he finally stabilized the sand ninja village that was in the wind and rain after the 3 generations of Kazekage disappeared mysteriously. But this is not enough. He wants to strengthen the strength of sand ninja, no matter what method he uses. Even if it is his own son, Luo Sha can sacrifice for the village. After hearing this, Yashimaru understood Luo Sha's meaning. But the image of Gaara calling him uncle with a smile appeared in his mind, and he couldn't bear to knock his head heavily on the ground. I'm sorry, but please give Gaara another chance. Luo Sha's cold eyes were firmly fixed on Yashawan on the ground, and after a long while, he said. Okay, you corner Gaara and tell him that Garura hates him. If Gaara won't go berserk in this way, it means that he still has a chance to become a successful product. Hearing these words, Danzo just wanted to clap his hands. He is a werewolf, a little more than a ruthless person. Tiger poison does not eat its offspring, and Luosha is more beastly than a tiger. Yashimaru wanted to raise his head to argue, but seeing Luo Sha's eyes, he knew that this was his last line. Obviously before my sister died, my brother-in-law was not like this, so I sighed heavily in my heart. Thousands of words turned into one sentence, obey. From the perspective of the village, I admire you, from the perspective of the family, I despise you. Danzo stood up and revealed his aura, and the strongest Kazekage in history found his figure. Luo Sha suddenly looked at Danzo with a gloomy expression, put on a defensive posture, and asked vigilantly, Who is your excellency? Why did you eavesdrop on my sand ninja secrets? The gold dust hidden in the room kept shaking, faintly locked on Danzo who suddenly appeared. Because I'm not strong enough, it's a secret to let a child go through this? Danzo asked with a smile. Luo Sha quietly controlled the dust in the room to condense together, and asked rhetorically, This is all for the village, besides, isn't it the same for you Konoha? You fox kid, whoever has a brain doesn't know that Nine-Tails Jinchuriki is that kid. Oh, that's great. What Hiruza Sarutobi did, I still need labor and capital to wipe my ass. Danzo couldn't help laughing. Otherwise how could Sarutobi Hiruzen lie to his ears and steal his bell, and he didn't bother to talk nonsense with Kazekage who put the village first in his heart, put his hands in his pockets and asked. I'll just ask you a question, do you agree to join my ninja federation? Luo Sha, who was ready, showed a smug smile on his face, turned his head and shouted to his brother-in-law beside him. You fucking dreaming. Yashimaru, come on. Magnetic escape placer gold spear. Turning his head and glanced at Yashimaru who was about to rush over, the surging coercion directly fixed him in place. Stretching out his hand, he put a spear of gold on the front, and complained. It is said that you are poor with sand, but I don't think you are poor, but you are very arrogant, and you start beating people with gold. What's wrong? The poor only have money left. Then try this trick. Magnetic escape. Sands waves. The golden placer gold floats in the air, and rushes towards Danzo in the waves, which makes Danzo's eyes warm for a while. With this ability, he can directly turn into a money printing machine. Since you are giving me money, then accept it with a smile. The Zanpakuto in Danzo's hand suddenly appeared, and flames wrapped around it. Flow like fire, burn the city. The orange-red flame rushed towards Luo Sha, but in desperation, he waved his hands to gather the gold placer back to defend. A huge amount of gold placer turned into golden liquid in front of the extremely high temperature. But what he didn't know was that Danzo on the back of the flames smiled and split into several shadow clones, took out a container to put gold in, and his face was full of the joy of the old farmer's harvest. Hey hey hey, get rich. The gold placer in his hand was getting less and less. Luo Sha gritted his teeth, and put his hand on the ground. The power of the magnetic escape kept attracting the placer gold to replenish it. Sweat protruded from Luo Sha's forehead crazily. Under Danzo's deliberate control, the flames spit out were in balance with Luo Sha's placer gold. Let him have an illusion that as long as he is a little stronger, he can beat the Danzo in front of him. Under the turmoil of his heart, he crazily extracted the chakra in his body, attracted the placer gold with a radius of 100 miles to gather in his hands, and flocked to Danzo. But when more than half of the chakra in his body was consumed, the flames in front of him were still dying. No matter how much gold dust he threw in, Danzo's flowing blade remained unchanged. This discovery made him grim, and he withdrew his gold dust, shouting, "Are you kidding me? Oh, have you been discovered?" With a wave of his hand, the flame was pulled down, and Danzo looked at the gold in the container, and nodded in satisfaction. "I'm just kidding you, why? Ask you again, do you want to join the Ninja Federation?" Bagaya dear. Luo Sha has been dazzled by anger, and it is impossible for him to abandon the village and join the Ninja Federation. Magnetic escape. Placer gold burial. All the remaining chakras were fully mobilized, and a huge amount of placer gold was instantly drawn into Danzo, and explosions continued to occur inside. As bursts of explosions sounded, Luo Sha looked proud. Relying on this move, he suppressed the rampage of that guy Izuo Sukure many times. But slowly, bursts of red light came from the gold dust, and a figure came out, and his gold dust was completely melted. Danzo shook his head slightly. Although gold is very tempting, since he chooses to attack him, he can only let him die. Hey, what a pity, your ability is quite useful, now it seems that I can only kill you. Then try it. Before he could finish his sentence, the Zanpakuto pierced his chest with the shining flame. There was a burning smell at the intersection of the flame and the flesh. Luo Sha looked down at the Zanpakuto piercing through his chest in disbelief, breaking his gold dust defense so easily. His hands were paralyzed, and he began to fear death in his heart. With the last bit of strength, he grabbed Danzo's trouser legs. "Help me, I agree. It's a bit late, but who asked us to discuss it?" Danzo's eyes showed a demon totem, which was imprinted on the body of the dying Luo Sha. "Welcome, the 4th general of my Shadow Corps and a gold printing machine." It's evening news time. In the 52nd year of the Konoha calendar, the Ninja Federation was formally established, and all countries in the ninja world, large and small, joined it. Abolish daimyo aristocratic system and judge by talent. As a remnant of the old era, the daimyo united with some nobles, and even openly hired Ronin ninjas, intending to resist the torrent of the times. The Ninja Federation gave a stern warning to this. At the same time, the 4th Kazekage died. According to the investigation by Shimura Danzo, a condolence representative sent by the Ninja Federation, he died of a cold infection. The Ninja Federation expresses great regret and condolences. I would like to remind everyone to keep warm and keep doors and windows closed during the season change. The 5th Kazekage is played by Yoshimaru. Since then, the Ninja World Federation Veterans Association has been formally established, and the title of Jiikan Shadow Class has been abolished, and the veterans will be responsible for all matters in the ninja world. The main members are Uchiha Shisui, Elder Danzo, 4th Eye, Goju Yakura, Yoshimaru, Onoki, Mifune and other 7 people. Lulin. Since the last time Danzo rushed in, Queen Lulin had put in heavy guards. I'm afraid that someone will break in again. The dragon veins are the foundation of Lulin's country. If there is any damage, it will shake the foundation of the country. Suddenly, the calm dragon veins began to riot. Several guards couldn't stand still and fell to the ground all of a sudden. Hey, hello, my master is back again. Danzo rushed out of the dragon's veins, staring at the Lulin kingdom covered with red flags, stunned. Why is there a star on the red flag? Queen Lulin, who came over after hearing the news, had a serious face and said, "Who is your excellency? Why did you break into our Ninja People's Republic Federation member?" Danzo scratched his head after listening, dumbfounded. What? Ninja People's Republic Federation? Queen Lulin looked at Danzo suspiciously. Could it be that your excellency doesn't know? 5 years ago, after the disappearance of the 3rd Hokage Shimura Danzo, Tobarama-sama took up his post again. 5 years? Queen, before he finished speaking, he was interrupted by Queen Lulin frowning. Please don't call me Queen, that's an old name. Now I'm a servant of the people. Perhaps, you can call me comrade. Danzo, who only felt that the world had changed, opened his mouth, and after a while, he said. Okay, Comrade, you can continue. Queen Lulin nodded. Tobirama-sama and Orochimaru are indeed genius ninjas. They developed a series of ninjutsu after discovering the dragon's veins. Especially clone ninjutsu and explosive ninjutsu. Using the endless energy of the dragon veins as the energy source of ninjutsu, let the dragon veins avatar carry the dragon vein detonation symbol, and continue to attack the major ninja villages. Sand Ninja Village, which is closest to Lulin, surrendered first. Only the other 3 countries are still resisting. After Hanzo of Urinan Village and Mifune of Iron Country became leaders, they followed Konoha's footsteps and declared war on the major ninja villages. Release the second plan at the same time. Unify Sand Ninja, Rain Ninja, and Konoha Ninja to attack the continuous mountains across the Land of Rain and the Land of Wind. The water vapor from the Land of Rain floated smoothly. Both countries are now holy places to live with a pleasant climate. All the cities in the original Land of Fire were paved with railways. Cross-border railways continue to be built. Now there are Huoyu Line, Huafeng Line and other railways. Under the strong economic oppression of the People's Republic of Ninja World, the internal affairs of other small countries that still wanted to follow suit went bankrupt. They can't afford the expenses of Ninja Village in the country. It caused the ninjas to revolt and led the country to join the People's Republic of the Ninja World. Riots also broke out in 3 other countries. Under the double oppression of military and economy, all the countries in Ninja Continent were incorporated into the Federation. It is planned to build a cross-sea bridge, which can directly connect the Land of Fire and the Land of Water. Danzo was stunned by the series of changes. So, is this a win? Teacher Saigao. Danzo looked at Queen Lulin and asked. Then do you know where Hokage is now? It should be in Muya City. Queen Lulin said after thinking for a moment. Danzo gritted his teeth and summoned Toothless Boy. Thanks. Queen Lulin finally asked. Oh, by the way, comrade. What's your name? Danzo picked up the Hokage hat, put it on his head, grinned, and said with a smile, Shimura Danzo.